Here we go. Now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're being brought full circle. You're being brought all the way around till we get to a circle, to a point that we arrive at that makes sense to the rest of the world. And a lot of people don't understand, they don't mention, they don't get anything that they think they should out of a situation. A lot of people say they like you until they're not doing good anymore. And that's how you find out who's really with you, who your friends are, the whole nine. You never really know who your friends are until it's time to know who your friends are. So as I sat back and I began to watch everything in this trial, today the defense decided in their infinite wisdom, oh, that's my neighbor, she's helping me out, getting all the grass out of the streets, everything. So this husband got his wife working, boy. She love to work too. She don't like to sit still. He got a good wife. Now, with all that's been said and put into the public eye right now, everything that's been put out here to the masses, even as they sabotage this video for you to see it, as we speak, they're sabotaging this video. They don't want it to reach anybody. Now, why would they be doing that? Why is it 2 minutes and nobody's in the chat? Does that sound like it's something that's a little conspiracy theory going on here? Hmm? Where are the people? They don't want you here. They don't want you to see you. They don't want you to know what's going on. Now, today it blew up in the prosecution's face, and they don't want to hear me talking about it. Anybody else could talk, except for me. No, 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 not that black guy. Why they want that to happen? Because they know the deal. Well, when you have people that's on your team, then you know there's a difference. You know there's a certainty about what it is that you're doing. Because when they started, everything was awry. So when the judge came back, right, and they said, look, on the defense speculation with regards to Don Richards, Mr. Grigos or Greg Garos or whatever, his opening statements opened the door to this testimony. They said, as to Mr. James, the testimony would be inadmissible absent. So they said, I argued in my letter, and the judge ruled orally on letters that are not in the docket, although there are clearly judicially documents, all right, to challenge the is of the document, the unsealedness of these documents, and all of this stuff, right? So the judge said the same brand of testimony that was objected to on Friday. Does the government expect Ms. Richards to say what she heard and saw? Yes. So they came right out with that. Yes. We expected her to say what she heard and saw. So this is what they're doing. right? Now, she's going to testify to what she heard and saw, right? That's going to be permissible, just like the testimony in the recording studio. So the ASUA all get in there. So they said, they had Slavic in there. She comes up and she goes, personal assistants were with Mr. Combs 20 hours a day. Their testimony is admissible. Judge said, my concern is that there are other ways to get this evidence in. What Mr. James would add is just the postscript. And then Diddy's lawyer said, on the David James issue, this defeats the whole purpose of the hearsay objection. The government is arguing that it is admissible because the job description is so vague. We contend that there are personal matters. And then the judge said, let me focus you on the assault on the chef. Mr. James learns from a member of the social detail that Mr. Combs assaulted the chef. Wouldn't that be the scope of their employment? And the lawyer said, I don't know what relevance this has to do with racketeering. And then Diddy's lawyer said, this is becoming a sort of a bad act free-for-all. Assault is just not one of the racketeering acts. And Slavic said, this is relevant to the means of method of the enterprise. The chef is identified as the victim of forced labor. And Diddy's lawyer said, I'm going to defer to Mrs. Westmoreland on the other witness. So Miss Moreland comes up and she says, Mr. Richard claimed that Mr. Combs assaulted Miss Ventura right in front of her. These other alleged threats are nowhere near in close proximity to the alleged assault. And she comes right up again and says, we have to distinguish between the Danity Kane and Diddy Dirty Money eras. And Mr. Perez telling her, Mr. Pierre is telling her, where are you going to go? I don't see how you can be constructed as a threat. Judge said, let me think about this. He's like, we have an application from the press that emails be put in the record. I am directing you to put them together and put them in the docket by Tuesday. And after that, on a weekly basis. Thank you, but a week late. So they come in and start firing and said, what? The jury starts entering the courtroom. And they come right on in. So right away, they're already telling you that they're getting two things mixed up. From Diddy Dirty Money and Danity Kane. It's two different times, two different groups, two different times. And they're getting all this stuff mixed up. And he's already saying that this is turning into a circus. And they're making it a domestic violence case right in front of the judge. They're in the wrong courtroom. And they're still going to try to make it a domestic violence case. It's like, Diddy was violent, Diddy was violent, Diddy was violent, Diddy was violent. We know that. He admitted to that in the opening statements. I kicked some ass, Your Honor. I mean, like, damn, what do you want? You in the wrong conversation. You're in the wrong courtroom for this. They keep saying this over and over every day, and you're not hammering down on the points of what are the charges. Now, I've been saying this for 4 days straight. David Sino, it's just the first week. Wait till we get here. Okay, now it's been a week. We're on day 6, and we still asking, when are you going to get to the charges? You know, and this is the point. And all these pro or anti-Diddy people are ignoring the facts and all of the stock they wanted to put into all these witnesses, and they're getting exposed while they on the stand. See, this is why you have to listen to both sides. Now you're seeing people being exposed for what they are and what their agenda is live on the stand. So they go into that, and I go from the transcripts. That means I'm not going off blah, blah, blah. I'm not going off the news. I'm going off what was actually said in the courtroom. That's what I tell you. I'm not telling you this blah, 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 and this is blah, blah, blah. No. I'm just sad they didn't send a notification to everybody like they should have. But we all know the politics that they're playing. So they start right off the AUSA sloppy. When Mr. Combs told you people could go missing, how did you interpret that? And then Don Richards like that people could die. I couldn't believe that this could be the beginning of the journey of all for us. And they said, as Diddy, Dirty Money? She said, yes. What did you observe? Miss Sonic said. Don Richards said he would drag her and kick her and punch her in the mouth. What would prompt these acts of violence? Moreland says, objection. They said overruled. Judge want to hear where she goes with it. And they said, when she would speak up for herself. And Sonic comes in. Who in security witnessed these attacks? D-Rock and Bonds. Where did Miss Ventura get hit? Her knees, her face, all over. Did there come a time where you were in New York for a festival? Yes, in Central Park. In the residence, what happened? He punched Cassie. She came into the ball bathroom crying. You could see her upset like she was hurt. Westmore, objection. Sustain. What injuries did you observe? A swollen eye. So they go into this swollen eye testimony, right? Mm-hmm. No, they went to the swollen eye testimony.
The Diddy Trial, week 2.
Oh God! Every time my thing go off, it's just Diddy trial stuff. So they go off this, right? And they want to project. So the Carrie Morgan, she was supposed to be the most damning person on the case. They wanted to bring in for shock and awe. They wanted to get all these different visuals, effects to have you affected by that. So she witnessed all of these accounts, right? So when you bring in this element into the courtroom, you bring up a fact that there is a lot of violence in the relationship. You bring up that there's issues in the relationship. You bring up that there's all these different takes that the government just don't want to talk about. There's all these different things that are going on that no one is speaking of. So when she starts bringing up these things, the jury is forced to bring up and open their eyes to it. They're forced to like, okay, maybe I should take a second look at this because now this looks kind of strange in the light now that this has been brought up. Because that's what they do. It's the misdirectional play. You know, you want to always make sure you can put the image there in people's heads. Now, when they talked about the skillet, you didn't think in your mind what happened, where Diddy was, where he was swinging a skillet, even though you didn't see it. You're picturing it in your head as to what's going on, right? The skillet just comes out of nowhere. The skillet of love. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand what's actually transpiring here is a actual shell game. So when she said in the residence what happened and all of this, and they came through and she talked about the swollen eye, and they said Why did you remain with Miss Ventura after the incident? She said, I wanted her to feel supported. What's this? The Central Park event? It's a picture of Cassie and Don Richards, both of them wearing sunglasses in the photo. And they was like, why did you wear them? Solidarity. So the next assault, right? Who was there? Because, everybody's going to believe Don Richards. Don Richards is everything. So they was like, well, who was there? We need to know. Because this is all about name dropping people, right? Capricorn Clark, Harvey Pierre, D-Rock. Who was Mr. Pierre? That bad boy answering to Sean Combs. Did they do anything? None of us did anything. We drove back to LA. He slapped Cassie in the mouth and told her to shut the F up. How did the passengers respond? We stayed silent for the rest of the ride. I asked myself, if he did that to somebody he supposedly loved, what would he do to an employee? So I approached Mr. Combs with softness. Did you try to intervene in the relationship? No, for my own safety. So when you're already talking in that tone, you're giving this approach, but everything they're talking about is domestic violence and assault. Assault is not what he's being charged with. Domestic violence are not what he's being charged with. How is this racketeering? What does this have to do? Land your plane or at least get to a point. Did you ever see Mr. Combs with guns? Yes, handguns on his lower back. Who asked? Who were they? Who asked if they had guns? Oh, who else had guns? That she said. Security, D-Rock and Bonds. What did you do after Bad Boy? Sing wherever I got momentum. I'll get a FaceTime from him. How would you speak to him? Very soft. I've always called him bro. Why did you not disclose the abuse you've seen? I was told not to by Mr. Combs and Harvey Pierre. When did you speak out? Don Richards. 2024. I saw Miss Ventura take the stand and tell the truth. Objection. Substain. Did you see Miss Ventura file a civil lawsuit and you then filed your own? Yes. Cross, the judge called him up there and they said, you're aware there's a motion to dismiss your lawsuit? I have civil lawyers. You sat with prosecutors and your allegations changed. I've been consistent. You testified about a hit. See, they got a black woman for a black woman. That's why they got Westmoreland up there. They brought her up there. It's like, okay, for the Hispanic woman, we got a Hispanic woman. For a black woman, we got a black woman. You're up, Miss Westmoreland, tear her ass up. So they sent a black woman to check a black woman, and that's exactly what happened here. She said, you testified he attempted to hit her about the eggs, and Mrs. Ventura dropped down to the fetal position, right? Yes. Did you ever say you heard a pan? See it? I don't recall. You don't recall? You just said it. Would you agree with me? It has been hard for you to keep your story straight with respect to the egg incident. I told it as close as I could. Okay. The day after, you say Mr. Combs said people go missing, right? Yes. Let's do to your interview that you did March 18, 2025. You did not say anything about Mr. Combs told you people would go missing. I don't recall that. No worries. I'm going to show you a document where you said it right here. Here's your document. You didn't say that at all. And that's for them to see. All the parties involved. She did not ever mention Diddy talking about people will go missing. None of this stuff. So it's like, where did you get this? Because you did not say this in any of your statements. They said, they like, isn't it true the first time you said this was a week ago? Would you like me to show your previous interviews? I know what I said. You said Mr. Combs made a death threat. One that you didn't recall 7 times. So they called Don Richards in her goddamn lying ass mouth. You see? She got cooked today because she's lying. And if she's lying, who's putting this in your head to go out on the stand and say? They're all being led. They're all being coached on what to say. But when you got lawyers who know you being coached and they can back you into a trap, this is exactly what happened to her dumb ass. And it's exactly what I don't understand about all these other people who witnessing what's happening to another black man getting railroaded like this. They try to smear his name and say, look, he's a woman beater. He's a woman beater. He might be a woman beater, but is he being charged for beating women? No, it's not an assault case. So stop. They're trying to shock and awe you to death. Shock, look at this. He did this. He beat her with a frying pan. He smacked this girl in the car and said, shut the F up. He know. We know. He beats women. We saw it. He's admitted to it. That's not in the trial. That's not on evidence. It's not here. It's not there. It's like, okay, you can go out of the lines. All right? You can go out of the bounds. You can go out of the lines for a while to say, okay, I'm going to do all this with the abuse, but then you got to come back to what your charges are. And you're not spending any time on what your charges are. You insinuate a little bit and you're going way out with the domestic violence thing. You're way into the social media part. And this is what the judge is saying. I'm afraid this trial is turning into a social media case. Because it is. It's a smear campaign. Boy, common sense just isn't common anymore. And when you see this kind of nonsense take place, it's amateur hour. Why do you think they got 5 females sitting here trying this case? 5 white ladies trying the case. Like dude said, it's a 6-pack of white women trying this case. Hey, his analogy was spot on because it looked like a 6-pack of white women in here trying to go for justice of domestic violence. And it's like, this is where they're going wrong. They're trying to shock and awe and make him so disgusting to the jury that they're going to say, ignore all the evidence that we don't have and let's just convict him because we don't like him. He's disgusting. That's what they're doing. That's the game they're playing. Because they have no evidence. They have no evidence to do anything. That's why they're doing this and taking this route. Trust me, when you see paperwork that thin, for racketeering, RICO, what else they say, trafficking and all of this, you're supposed to see a docket this thick. You got this little thin ass documents that you can print out in 2 seconds. It's like, what? Hell no. Hit the like button, y'all, because this is real. Hit the like button. You want to support the page? My Cash App is Carceno, Carceno. They don't lose. Well, they losing now, and they need to lose. Definitely this case, because this case is a farce. Now, she didn't recall none of this for 7 times. Then they said, let's move to the alleged incident before the Central Park concert. You were aware that there was a camera crew, right? She said, not in the bathroom. You were filmed in the park. Are you aware of that? Thanks, Spitting Fire. Appreciate it. They say we are not perfect. Diddy is not ideal, but we all deserve fair justice and due process. That is correct. That brother is just said the right thing, and y'all should all remember that. We all do due process and a fair trial, man. That's what we deserve. Now, on my Patreon, in about an hour from now, will be my most explosive video ever. I've never made a video this explosive. And that's going down at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So 1 hour from now, my Casino for Life Patreon for the VIPs is that powerful. It's really powerful. It will never be on YouTube. Don't even expect that. It can't go on YouTube. It's that powerful. So after they went through the camera thing, right? They said, "Are you aware the video in the park has been turned over?" She says, "No." And they said, "About the guns. You didn't tell the prosecutors about I saw guns at Diddy's house." They didn't ask. You never saw Mr. Combs pull a gun out and wave it around, load bullets, or cock it. He just had it. Did you tell the government you never saw Mr. Combs do cocaine? I don't recall. Your testimony has changed on quite a few things. As time progresses, I remember more. I know the prosecution is falling out right now. So as time goes on, you just make up more shit, is what you're saying. That's not what you're supposed to say. They say, you saw one stop sell drugs. You saw him take money. Yes. All right. 1 second. Didn't you tell the government you never saw anyone pay him? So you lied, right? No. You just said. You just said yes. Now you're saying no. You didn't lie on this stand under oath about 3-4 times. You're changing your story up again. The judge said sidebar. So they went up there to talk to the judge, and then the judge is like, look, man, this is getting out of hand. This is turning into some social media crap. And it's like, she's lying. So they get back in there, right? And they go, it was you who reached out to Mr. Combs to work with him again, right? Yes. But he had threatened you, right? You asked him to work with you again? Yes. Okay. See, a black woman can check a black woman. See, this is why you have these situations. They said we had to get a sister for a sister. You wanted to get Don Richards? All right, cool. We're going to go get us a sister. And this sister had been essayed before. So she already done been in the grease. So she know when somebody is faking the funk. So here she come right in. They say the songs you released on your own have not reached the level of what you released with Danity Kane or Diddy Dirty Money, right? True. And you reached out to Mr. Combs to try to make more money, right? Yes. Can we have a short sidebar? The government want to have a sidebar now. They was like, oh no. So they was like, in short, still wondering why these side legal arguments is with the judge. Well, will it go into the docket? What's going to be happening here? So they come back from the sidebar because she knows she's doing it for money. Everything you're allowing to now is money. Your story has changed 3, 4, 5 times on the stand. And why are you here? Like they said, she shouldn't even be here. She has no relevance to the case because she's unreliable. So they was like, why did you file a civil lawsuit? They said, when I worked for Sean Combs, I had no sleep. The conditions Your conditions is no worse than anybody else in the business. You had no sleep. People be like, dude, we work 7 days a week from sun to sun. What the hell are you talking about? In every meeting, the government, did you ever say that Mr. Combs beat Miss Ventura? Yes. Why'd you reach out to Mr. Combs? This the government talking. One of the judge on making the ban, Lorraine Gibson, I wanted to reach out. Westmoreland said, objection, sustain. How often would you, how often would you hear from Mr. Combs after you left Diddy Dirty Money? Sporadically. Why did you reach out to help Kalina Harper? No further questions. They was like, may we have a Diddy's lawyer, the black lady say, may we have a brief conference at the bench? They go back to the bench over this. So they went to a recross. And they said, you admitted that you reached out to Mr. Combs to re-engage, you claim. You only have a relationship with Lorraine Gibson. But it got back together. But if it got back together, you will have to see Mr. Combs more, right? Yes. You sued for money, right? For justice. But the suit asks for money, right? Yes. No further question. They said, so the judge asked them, they was like, all right, Miss Slavic, what you want to do? They was like, no redirect. Please. We just want Miss Richards gone. So the whole government wanted her off the stand immediately. They were like, oh, do you want to redirect? The government said no redirect. We don't want her talking no more. You are done, Miss Richards. Please leave the courtroom immediately. Do not pass go. Do not get your $200. Please leave here. You have damaged this case tremendously. She has completely damaged the case. That case is damaged now. They can forget about that. She has totally damaged the credibility of probably everybody coming up. Because if this is who you vetted and you put her on the stand and you think she did a service for you, she just destroyed you because she didn't get you nowhere to any charges. And then everything that she said that could have led to a charge is compromised because she never said those lines ever. Bringing in the gun. Okay, that's one. Bringing in the fact of the threat. All of those key factors lead to a RICO or a coercion because he had a gun, because he made a threat. These are the things that could lead to coercion, but it's so thin and so like weak. She had to mask it up in all of this domestic, this violence, and then throw those little lines out there to try to connect it. But it's so weak. And each one of those two cases that relates to the charges is compromised because she never stated any of these things prior to this. So if you told the government in March all of this stuff and didn't mention these things, and now only a week ago you do an interview where you're actually talking about that, who's got to you to get that? And you got a civil lawsuit going on, even though it's some pending to throw that out. And they got video of you from that event, so you're gonna lose that lawsuit too. It's not even gonna come out. It's getting thrown out. So don't even worry about it. It's gonna get tossed. Well, when you look at something of that magnitude and you start saying to yourself, oh man, this is behind what's door number 3 or what's behind door number 4. When you start going down this road and you start seeing the cracks in the ceiling and you start realizing what's really going on in the game, then you start underlining and realizing, oh, this is real messed up. This is worse than I expected. This is not the way this is supposed to go. Well, you got to think about it. What's done in the dark will be brought to the light. So they took a break and brought in Carrie Morgan. Now, remember, I told you about Carrie Morgan. I told you about her getting hit with the hammer. See, I'm ahead of the trial. See, all the stuff I told y'all what she was going to talk about, that was the main thing they brought her up there for, because they couldn't wait to talk about that. They couldn't wait to talk about that. That's what they wanted to talk about, boy. They got to get that in. Oh, absolutely. See, that's their play. So when Carrie Morgan comes up there, she was a much better witness for the prosecution than Dawn Richards. So they brought her up to the stand, right? But she comes in there and says, the government calls Carrie Morgan. Where do you live? She says, Los Angeles. They say, who is this? Cassie Ventura. What is your relationship? We were best friends. Her boyfriend assaulted me. Do you see him here? Yes. There in a yellow sweater. For the record, redeflect, the witness has identified defendant Sean Combs. Where are you here? Why are you here? I got a subpoena. Do you live with Cassie? Where did you live with Cassie? Manhattan. Did Cassie drink? Not much. Any drugs? None. What was she doing for work? Modeling. Then she recorded me and you. When did you learn they were dating? 2007. Did you travel with Cassie and Mr. Combs? Yes. Ibiza, Miami. What drugs did Mr. Combs provide? Molly, marijuana, ecstasy. Where did Mr. Combs take? All of them. I'm like, which one did he take? All of them. So now he's taken all of them. Okay. Did you take any drugs alone with Cassie? Opioids. Lying. Right. So she's obviously lying. So now, as she's going down this whole script that they're running, right? And they was like, okay, that's what you want to do and bring to the table. They was like, well, how did Mr. Combs, act? He would yell at Cassie. She lost her confidence big time, lost her spark. Did Mr. Combs talk down to Cassie? Yes, about her looks. Who she talked to. Did you contact you looking at her? Did he contact you looking at her? A lot. Sometimes he would call 50 times in a row. Would others call you for him? Yes. KK. Christian Coral. Did you witness assault? Yes. First in Hollywood Hills. Ruben, one of his security guards, was there. What did Mr. Combs do to Cassie? He kicked her. What did she do? Nothing. I told Ruben to do something. He indicated he wouldn't. Then what? We left the house. Cassie and I were hiding by someone's front steps. And the next time In Jamaica. I saw him drag her by her hair. I ran back to get my purse and phone so we could leave. What did you see next? I thought she was knocked out. Then she got up and ran into the wooden area. What happened next? There were two golf carts in the driveway. I got in one and Sean got in the other. We went in different directions looking for Cassie. Did you find her? Yes. Then we hid in a ditch, whispering. What about the incident in Cornstark apartment? Cassie came running back with a hoodie covering her face. Then Sean tried to get in, hitting the door with a hammer. I called D-Rock. Did he get in? No, the police came. What happened? Cassie wouldn't show them her ID. Nothing happened. They left a card. Read this message. Did you send an attachment? Yes, a photo of the card the detective left. Did Mr. Combs ever assault you? Yes. He hit me with a wooden coat hanger and choked me. Where did the hanger hit you? Right behind my right ear. What did he express concern about? Who Cassie was cheating on him with. Who did you speak about? Ryan, Sean's old assistant. What did he do? Shrugs. I have not spoken with Cassie since. They took a break. They come back. Everybody got some food. They continued. They said, what's your best citation to trying to get this evidence in? And the judge said, I'll look at them and we'll come back. And Diddy's lawyer said, hey, wait a minute. I haven't seen this before. Like y'all trying to admit something to evidence now? And the judge said, if I let this is Mrs. Ventura can be recalled as a witness. They want to let them know if they allow this evidence to come in. And he said, I doubt that we would call her. The defense called her back to the stand. The judge said the defense could call her back to the stand. And they said, I doubt she would be available. Then they said, this evidence is out. You can't do that. See, they tried to play a game. Like, no, don't bring Cassie back, but we want to sneak some evidence in. They said, well, the defense can call her back if we want to put this in here in the evidence. And then the judge said, okay, well, then the evidence is out. You can't. She's trying to, well, I doubt she's going to be available. Well, the evidence is out. I'm sorry. The evidence is out. Yeah, it's gone. Just like that. Yes, I saw some evidence from court today where Cassie has like a hole right above her eye. She's got like a hole in there, like whatever she got hit with, bust her head, and she had to get stitches by her eyebrow. She got like a hole by her head. I seen that, and her eye is swollen, so whatever. But that's domestic. All of this is domestic. So they said, I anticipate Mr. James will be the next witness. How is this relevant? They said, as it means to the methods of the enterprise of Mr. Combs threatening to assault employees. And they're like, oh my goodness. So the judge comes in and they say, no further questions for Mr. Morgan. And the judge says, cross. So now the defense get to come up and talk to Carrie Morgan. So they said, you were Mrs. Ventura's best friend since 2004, right? Actually, 2001. We met while waiting for the Polaroids to develop when I was living in Buffalo and she was in Connecticut. Okay. Then you both were in New York, right? Now this is Diddy's head lawyer. He wants to take her on. White man for white woman. Let's go. He the head of the team. He comes in. She was like, I stayed downtown. She moved to Harlem. Have you ever met Kim Porter? Yes, probably at a concert. Was Cassie ever jealous? Yes. And the other way. Cassie was speaking with Michael B. Jordan and Sean got jealous. She was trying to leave him. So, during Honey 3, right? They're saying Michael B. Jordan is the one she was trying to date or whatever, right? Because he came down to South Africa when they was filming Honey 3. I didn't know he was even in the damn movie, but I told you, all of a sudden, the only person that mentioned Honey 3 before this trial, none of y'all knew anything. But they tell about Sino just be making stuff up. But none of them knew. Thanks for the super chat, Spitting Fire, once again. Mm-hmm. So they said she was trying to leave him, right? You were both using drugs? No, we were in South Africa. Did you learn about Gina? Yes. He was having a full relationship with this little girl. Why do you call her that? Because she acts like that. She's younger than us. When you say Sean came around hammering on the door, why did the police come? They said because of the noise. What did you say? What did they say to you? Cassie was visibly injured, but she didn't say anything. You two were best friends for 18 years, but now you haven't spoke with her since 2018. That's true. At the danger of being capitally obvious, that's a long time. She's moved on. Objection! And they go, why haven't you spoken to her? She did not support me after Sean assaulted me. I draw that line at assault. You reached a settlement with Miss Ventura, right? The money came from Mr. Combs. They showed Carrie Morgan some pictures. They said, do you know if Louis Hayes is a self-help alter or self-ammunition, affirmation? Yeah, he's like, yes. Why did you send him this with words of encouragement? I don't remember sending it. Okay. I want to show you a few more photos, but first let's talk about the incident where he put his hands around your neck. Were you and Cassie using any drugs at the time? No. What did he say? Who is she cheating with? You went to an urgent care and not the hospital, right? Right. But you don't, they said, but you told the prosecutors it was bloody and you went to the hospital. I don't remember that. Look at this. The transcripts. They not shown to the jury. I see that. I said that. And they was like, let's have a cross-examination. She comes in. Do you remember him asking you about an incident in LA? Objection. Overruled. Foster, she came in there, she said, and he hit her like in Jamaica, arguing about jealousy. What happened in Jamaica? He dragged Cassie by the hair and about 50-yard halfway. He was talking about jealousy. No, he said she spent too long in the bathroom. No further questions, Your Honor. Any record cross? It was like now. So they got her off the stand. Now, all of that stuff she said has nothing to do with trafficking, has nothing to do with a RICO. Nothing she said. All she's doing is confirming that she was Cassie's best friend to back up Cassie's things. Like, oh, she hasn't been friends with her. She's only here because they subpoenaed her. She's not here to support Cassie. So she just wants to tell her side of the story. Cassie paid her $30,000. 30,000. She said the money came from Sean with the non-disclosure agreement. If she was so outraged, why did she take the money? Cassie said she paid half of it. That came out of Cassie's mouth. I paid half of it. So if Cassie Ventura says she paid for half of it, why are they still having this conversation? So they bring in David James. They say, why are you here, the government? I've been subpoenaed. Were you Cohn's personal assistant from 2007 to 2009? Who is that in the photo? That is David James. Is that you? Is that yourself? Yes. I went to college in Michigan. Later, I faxed my resume to Bad Boy. Where's the interview? 1710 Broadway. Who'd you meet? Tommy. His sister Keisha and others. How did they test you? They gave me 40 appointments and asked me to make a schedule. You had to know, for example, what time a particular show was on. The Hot 97 came on, right? What did Mr. Combs ask you? To make a spreadsheet for Miami. So they bring in him to make a spreadsheet for Miami. I said, I know his food, his restaurant preferences. He asked me if I'd make a good assistant. I said, can't stop, won't stop. I got the job. Did he have others? Mr. Robles, Mr. Barber, there's been others. What do you do as an assistant? Bad boy to 5, then out to dinner, then studio to 3 a.m. We'll get a call time, and by the end of the night, did you travel with Mr. Combs as well? Yes. Who were the security staff? D-Rock, Bonds, Uncle Paulie. You work 20 hours a day. Yeah, security do too. What security staffs tell you? Stay in the lane, stay in my lane. Who said that? Bond, Uncle Paulie. And focusing on his personal chef. Who is he? Oh, that's Chef Jordan. Jordan Atkinson? Yeah. Did Mr. Combe have girlfriends then? Sarah, Tara, Yana, Cassie, Kim Porter. What was your first conversation with Cassie? We was on Star Island. Carrie Morgan was there too. Cassie said, this lifestyle is crazy. I asked her, why don't you leave? She said, man, Sean controlled my life, my music. He pays for my apartment. Next conversation. It was about what? It was about our music, but the album never came out. Did you overhear a conversation? Yup. Mr. Combs said, Kim is my queen. Out in LA with my family. He said, I have Cassie right where I want her. She's young and moldable. Your Honor, how much longer do you want to go? This will be a good time for a break. Judge is like, we will break for the day. So, and they was like, why are we going to come back with this personal assistant who's trying to make it? So David James is now trying to drive him home on the points that she was coerced. Like, Sean controls my life. He pays for my apartment. He does this. He does that. It's going to be hard for that to be coercion because he's paying for things. Because she says he controls my life. There's a lot of people who control other people's lives. They have conservatorship. over these people. There are a lot of people could say Scooter Braun controls my life. I can't do nothing without Scooter Braun. But Cassie has admitted in this trial that what? Not only does she make her own decisions, that she's also got other people making decisions for her. And that she took control of her own life and went and got her own apartment. And she paid for it herself, and Diddy allowed that to happen. She said that out of her own mouth. So if Diddy allowed that to happen, how is Diddy at fault? You just lost that point right there. Oh, show y'all what was in court. I'll show y'all right quick. You got the stomach for it. Cassie had a hole in her head. Now, that was shown in court. Then you see it healing up. After she got it stitched. But again, they're turning this into a domestic situation. This is not a domestic case. But they're turning it into one. Now, they're trying to say, look at this. Diddy's telling her, if I gotta tell you one more goddamn time, you gonna take that. Take that. Hear me? And I mean take that. And he's like, look at Cassie. She looks terrified. Look at her lip. They're trying to tell you her lip is swollen. Look at the side of her lip. Her lip is swollen because Diddy just went off on her and made her take that. Once again, this is not a domestic violence case. Yes, everybody wants it to be that because that fits their argument. That fits whatever it is that they want, type of road they want to go down. So they entered these photos. They entered them as evidence and put them everywhere. Now, exactly. So what do these abuse photos have to do? They smear Diddy's name. They're making this a social media um, case and putting this into evidence. Now, if you support and put all this new evidence into play, you open up for all of this stuff to come back into trial. And once you start doing that, you're already setting things up for a a very bad outcome for you, because pretty much the witnesses the witnesses are going to say different things and make different analogies. Right, these witnesses are going to travel out and do wonderful things. They're going to want to go out and say, all right, I did it. I done got my testimony in. Okay, cool, you testified. But at what point does this benefit you? You want some money at the end of this rainbow. If Diddy's in jail for life, how are you going to get some money? They didn't think that one through. They scratching their head. Yeah, wait a minute. I just thought about that. That's a good point. I'm going to get my money. Then, the point I've been trying to make this entire time is that this is a domestic case. No. This is an assault case. Nope. So domestic and assault don't get him convicted. No. So you mean to tell me this man could beat this woman 68,000 times over the head with a frying pan and walk out not guilty? Yep. Why? Because that does not prove coercion. It does not prove trafficking. It does not prove a RICO. I've tried to tell people this countless times. It's like I'm repeating myself only to hear my failures. It makes no sense, people. Makes no sense. Why do we have to continuously go down a road that makes no sense? I know it's closing in. Almost 30 minutes for the most explosive Patreon video you've ever seen from me. And buddy, y'all know already, I've dropped a lot. Diddy is garbage? Might be true. He's a woman beater? Absolutely. Diddy will go upside a woman's head with no regards. He had very little regards about going upside a woman's head. That man is guilty of abuse. But I tell you one thing, he's not guilty of trafficking. He's not guilty of racketeering. He's not guilty Cassie has admitted to putting her hands on Diddy. Like it's all right to hit a man. Like the new movie Shadow Force, there's a scene where Method Man's getting beat up by his wife, who's a 200-pound black woman, and she whooping on Method Man. I mean, beating him up. And he, baby, but wah. And she's just beating him up, and the crowd is just loving it and cheering. That's right, girl, beat his ass. I'm like, wow. Wow. They were married for 20 years. Some things they gonna accept, and a lot of things they won't. Now, if Method Man would have popped up one time, even in the movie, they'd have been like, he's violent. Yep, hit the like button up. I know y'all just got here. Don't forget to subscribe here and hit that notification bell. Yeah, Meth always losing to the women in the movies. But in that movie, he was violent towards Keisha. Well, looking at it, I mean, I'm just going off the evidence. There isn't any. There's none that's being provided that would say, okay, we have a case here that we could build and say this is coercion. I'm not seeing that. I know that this is only 1 week. It's been 6 days in the trial, but we're burning through a lot of witnesses. And all they talking about is domestic violence. And that's not on the docket. We keep going back to the desk and saying, okay, now look. How many times you want to go over this? Okay? Everybody's saying he hit Cassie. Okay, we all know he hit Cassie. The judge know, he know. Everybody here know he put hands on Cassie. That's not what he's being tried for. If you want to do that, go to the state court. What are you doing here? This is a federal case for racketeering, RICO. We have not gotten to any of the charges. Not one. We kept hearing about domestic violence this, domestic violence that. And then every time they want to add and try to get to a RICO, they add something new that they didn't even have in the statement. Don Richards just really exposed what the prosecution is doing altogether. It was terrible for them to even put her on the stand. You put somebody on the stand that has a civil lawsuit against the client in a criminal case. And there's a motion to have her case completely dismissed. And after he threatened you, you went back to him to try to help you make some money? And you suing him because of a work schedule? He never hit you? But talking about forced labor, she's paid for her labor. What is it? That's not forced labor. You're being paid for the job that you're doing. How is it forced labor? I mean, this has got other lawyers shaking their heads. My lawyer, who I consort with, who's retired now, I knew this lawyer when he was with his first lawyer. He was with another practice. And then that guy ended up passing away. He retired before that happened. And then he took over and had his office. So he knows all about this lawsuit, like how to do this. But he's just like, this person must not have time to be on the internet going over. If you're on the internet going over cases, you must not be practicing law right or something, because you must got a lot of time on your hands. You in between cases. Because if you got time to go over all this evidence that they got in the Diddy trial, and you're an active practicing lawyer, it's like, what are you doing? He's like, I got too much time with real cases to go over. He's like, my staff had time to go over real cases. I don't have time to be focused on what they doing over here and what they doing over there. I don't have time for that. So all of y'all, my Patreon is Casino for life. Absolutely. I would love to see y'all there, because this is the most explosive video I have ever made. So if you're a VIP Patreon, believe me, it's a drop. So y'all be in the live chat. I get to see y'all comments, everything. Yes, it's explosive. Well, when the prosecution finally starts getting to it, maybe they're using this assistant to try to get to the point that they're trying to land their plane, then we could take it a little bit more serious. We heard a lot of hearsay. What I was saying earlier last week, hearsay, when it came to Don Richards' testimony, which really hurt the prosecution today, did not help them at all, tremendously hurt them. And now you're looking at a situation in which they're going to be different in opinions when it comes down to... All right, I'm only going off the transcript. I can't go off what everyone else is saying. But from talking with lawyers, and they tell you, they say, hey, you can go out of bounds a little bit. You can go out the lines, but you got to bring it back in. You got to start bringing the plane back in for the landing. You can't go so far out of bounds and then try to bring it back in. It's just a poorly led team. And I don't think, like the one lawyer said, he doesn't think Comey has been around this team enough. Like she just took over the case. They had someone else assigned and they put her in charge. So now it's 5 white women versus this black man. And they just taking this whole domestic violence angle, trying to shock and awe, make him look so terrible. that there's nothing he could do. They got him looking so bad that it doesn't even make sense. Like, you're gonna despise Diddy so much that there's no way you can rule not guilty for him because you don't like him. He's that bad. Oh, where I'm going, see him, chicken. So, anyway, we'll see y'all after tomorrow's. All right? Deuce.